my mother enters the workforce. The path to ABC Business School was paid for by a lucky sign. Alterations, qualified seamstress, inquire within. Tested on sleeves, hers, never puckered, puffed or sleep, Lego or raglan. They barely needed the damp cloth to steam them perfect. I use basically everything that we did. So on Saturday, we as adults read the poem and discussed the meaning of it. Very similar to what we did in class, thinking about why this author wrote this or why the speaker chose to use the words that they did, and what specific words they used and what they meant to the deeper meaning or the whole meaning of the text, and had a really academic discussion about the poem. And then Nina and I broke up into small groups because we were both teaching the 6th grade lesson, and how our discussion about the poem and the meaning of the poem would affect the way we taught it to our students. So what questions would we ask our students to get to the same adult understanding of the poems that we had? Because both of us actually read the poems very differently, and then when we sat down as a big whole group, we realized that the poem was totally different than when we independently read it, which was great because it really drove home the point that you need other people to understand what a poem sometimes is trying to convey. I want you to take 30 seconds to go through the poem and find either your favorite word or your favorite phrase. Christopher, what are we doing for the next 30 seconds?
For the next 30 seconds, we will be finding our favorite word or phrase.
Beautiful, go ahead. 30 seconds begin right now. You can circle it, you can underline it, do whatever you want to it. You're finding the word that spoke the most to you, that you've got chills on your back, or you said, ooh, I like this poem. Okay, what we're gonna do now, we've not done this before, but I love this idea of going around and explaining which one of our favorite words or phrases we picked. So is it okay if we have the same word or phrase? Yes, because there's only so many words on this page. So we're gonna start with Tiara, and we're gonna go all the way around, and then we'll come to the middle section. Is that cool? Tiara.
I picked those were the afternoons.
I picked locomotive.
I picked velvet deep as a forest. I picked tested on sleeve, hers never puckered, puffed, or sleek.
I chose those were the afternoons.
I picked of a needle through quicksand.
I picked another journey rougher.
I picked no more, postponed groceries, and that blue pair of shoes.
Okay, now we are going to turn and talk with our partners and explain why we chose it. There is no right or wrong answer because it's your personal opinion. Why is there no right or wrong answer, Suleiman?
There's no right or wrong answer because it's your own personal opinion.
Okay, what are we talking about, Safiatu?
We're talking about why we chose what we did.
Okay, beautiful. When I say one, you turn. When I say two, you talk. 1, 2. We do think, pair, share, or turn and talk to deepen the students' understanding, as well as to give all students an opportunity to speak and have their voices heard and their opinions. Because there are some students who don't feel comfortable talking in front of the whole class, or get nervous when it's time to speak in front of the whole class. But their understanding is deepened because they have a partner to hold them accountable and make sure that they're answering the question that's being asked, as well as hold them accountable of deepening their understanding. Back to me in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ahmed.
The reason I picked all morning at the office machines, their clack and chatter, is because since we already have background knowledge about the typewriters, I'm thinking that they're using the typewriters at the office.
What if I did not give you the background knowledge? Would you still have chosen those lines?
I would have chosen about the velvet deep as a forest.
Why?
I would have chosen that because it shows that since they're working all afternoons and they're working all the time, I'm thinking that they're working hard.
Working hard. But what does the deep as a velvet forest evoke for you? What is, if you were to close your eyes, what do you see, Leticia?
I see a deep purple, because you see that forests are deep and velvet is a type of purple.
It's a type of fabric.
Oh, it's purple fabric or something. I see purple fabric.
You see purple fabric. Okay,
Yeah.
you're choosing purple. Are you choosing purple because you're in my room? Maybe. Okay. Does anyone choose a saying or word just based off the way it sounded? Jatoria.
I chose tested on her sleeves, never puckered, puffed, or sleek, because it sounds like she's actually doing really good, hard work. And it says, and the title is My Mother Enters the Workforce, so like, it's like, sounds like it's her first time and she's doing a really good job for her first
What
time.
do you want to say, Marcus?
Well, when we didn't even start reading, I just circled workforce as well, because like I also agree with Kenwell, because when I first thought of it and then when we read it, I'm thinking that she has different types of jobs too. Like, well, when it says like the deep vow, deep as a forest, and a needle deep through the quicksand, I'm thinking like she's knitting or something.
Okay. It's fast-paced to ensure that the kids are engaged, because you will be called on, you won't know when you're going to be called on, and so that means you always have to be on your feet and ready to learn. And we only have 50 minutes to get to an end goal in a lesson. We have a more formal structure to literature class where they come in and do a do now. We read, ask questions, have a discussion, and then they leave with an exit ticket. But my style is I'm real with the kids. I treat them as if they're young adults. I don't think that they're sixth graders. I think that they are intellectual kids ready for college, in the sense of the things that they think of and come up with and participate in class blow me away. I don't remember thinking the way that they do at sixth graders. Why might the speaker be focusing on these type of clothes? Tested on sleeves, hers never pucker, puffed or sleek, Lego or raglan. They barely needed the damn cloth to steam them perfect. What did you notice from the pictures from the do now that might be the reason why the author or the speaker is focusing on the clothes? I want you to think about that. That's a hard question. I want you to turn and talk to your partner about that, okay?
I think they probably are talking about the clothes like that because since we think that it's back in time, probably this woman had to make these clothes for the people that were back in time, and people really wanted these clothes.
Rory said that the clothes that the mom is making are for who?
Older people,
Older,
formal people,
who have
money.
Why might the speaker focus on these types of clothes? Show me with a silent hand. Jaden.
Since those clothes are like very hard to make and they seem very difficult, and it seems like Rory said that it was for the rich probably, and she noticed who her mother worked for.
Who her mother worked for. And that it took a lot of what, Camwell?
It took a lot of grit and force to make
Grit and
these.
force. So perseverance and force and a lot of focus. And the speaker is watching mom do these things. What might the speaker feel, Yaeli, about her mother at this point?
The speaker might feel proud of her mother because since she knows that it takes a lot of hard work and grit to do these things, and her mother is doing it so well, she should be proud.
Beautiful. Moving on to the 1, 2, 3, 4th stanza. And now, sang the treadle. I know. And then it was day again, all morning at the office machines. Their clack and chatter, another journey, rougher, that would go on forever, until she could break 100 words with no errors. And then. Don't read into how I just read it, but look at the lines, I know, and then. And think about what Yaeli just said. How is the speaker, in his or her mind, saying these lines? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay.
So she's trying to say it casually because she's having a real conversation. Like, she's not trying to say it fancy.
I kind of read it the same way as you did, Victoria. It's like, I know, my mom has to do these things. Why does mom have to do these things? Safiatu.
Mom has to do these things because they need the money, whether or not they like it, even if it's a lot of work.
Beautiful. What does the speaker know is at the end of the tunnel?
The speaker knows that his or her mom has worked hard, and they've probably worked. Maybe it ties into the first paragraph where maybe their parents worked hard for them to get into the business school.
Beautiful. Do you disagree or have something to add?
I want to add on because at the end of the road, at the end of the tunnel, I think that there's hope for the family because since the mom is working hard every day so that they can earn money, it gives them an opportunity for them to do what they want in life with the money that they earn.
Beautiful. But I want to push back. There's the line. Another journey. Rougher. that would go on forever. Kayla.
I think that this means that this job or what she's doing this time is harder than the one that she was doing before, because it says another journey, so another like experience, and that it's rougher, so it's harder for her to do.
Yelly.
I also think that when it says another journey rougher, I think it means like the rest of both of their lives, because the speaker also still has to like work and get a job eventually, so it might be as tough as it was for her mother.
It might be as tough as for her mother, because the journey never ends. What indicates that it ends? Calvin.
Oh, so it says until she could break 100 words with no errors. That's saying that the journey will end when she makes 100 words with no errors, like she does it perfectly.
Exactly. So she needs to get to that point. She needs to reach her goal. And then. Sosa.
I just noticed that when it says and then, it's like more of a relief, because it's like saying and then we don't have to like wait for the groceries anymore, because now they have the money, since before it says she could break 100 words with no error, saying, like Calvin said, perfectly, and now that they can get the new blue pair of shoes that they wanted, meaning that they can get the things that they want.
The things that they wanted. You guys are so good that you take the questions right out of my app. The blue shoes. What does the blue represent? Turn and talk to your partners. It was great, that moment, because it was leading to where I wanted to go next, the last 2 lines of the poem. And so they were able to draw the connection that the line right here is kind of a pause, and it says, and then. And so the child was able to recognize that the author made a choice, that the dash meant there's a pause, and then there's a sigh of relief. And you could really feel through the language and the punctuation choices the author made that there was a change in the poem. You and Safiato were having such a rich conversation, which I assume the rest of you are all doing. Can you tell the class what beautiful words you just said, or what the blue represents?
Well, what I think the blue represents is success, because now she's relieved that her mother worked so hard, that now she gets the money to go to business school and buy whatever they want.
What else did you talk about? Not about necessarily the words.
Oh, also that the author's choice, that he put an exclamation point. She put an exclamation point to show how she's so happy and relieved.
Yeah, because it totally changes the meaning. We've talked that a period versus a question mark versus an exclamation point makes your brain do certain things, right? When a question is at the end, our brain goes, And when an exclamation point is there, we go, woo, woo. Show of hands, who agreed with what Fama and Safiato said about the blue? Christopher.
I believe that the shoes represent the luxuries that they can now afford.
Why?
This is because the narrator desired that the blue pair of shoes, and when he or she says, and then, no more postponed groceries, and that blue pair of shoes, it means that they can now afford that once this happens, they can afford the shoes.
Afford, it's a luxury, it's not a necessity. Everyone, look at your shoes right now. What color are they? Black. Black, because they're a necessity. The shoes you want to wear in school, what color are they, Rory? Different colors. Different colors. Because you want to wear them. Does this speaker want to wear black shoes? No. They want to wear blue shoes. So, those of you who have the exit ticket, please turn it over. Rory, will you please read what the question is asking?
In 2016, what would be the job a mother would have to do to enter the workforce? What would she have to overcome today in order to be successful?
So you are going to have 10 minutes. Do we need 10 minutes? 10 minutes to answer this. 5 minutes? 8 minutes, okay. We have the highest expectations in my classroom. Regardless of your abilities, I believe that every kid can achieve their maximum potential. I find that sometimes poetry is one where students who've never felt successful in the classroom flourish. Usually the kids who are always at the bottom, always don't feel successful. Once we start a poetry unit is where they come alive. It's where that's the genre that speaks to them. And two, the things that come out of their mouths, the ideas that they are able to come up with by reading these poems are over my head. Because like I said, I didn't study English in high school. I went back to school just to become a teacher, and fell in love with teaching English. And so I never really spent a lot of time reading poetry in college. And so I'm just blown away because poetry was always intimidating to me, and teaching it, like, they make me love it so much that I want to read poetry and I want to think like they do.